We're here with the Topless Fire Chief, Tim McMahon. Tim, being a fire chief, what exactly is your job, but also challenges that come your way as far as you work with a lot of people? What exactly is that?
Well, we're structured as a chief, myself, two assistant chiefs, and I got a captain and then several lieutenants and then the firefighters themselves. So my job is actually just to direct them, give them orders or directives on every scene, which every scene is different. So if I'm not available, then the captains or the assistant chiefs and so on, the captains and lieutenants would take over in my absence.
What would be your favorite part to your job?
Probably watching the guys come up through the ranks and excel as they learn, and with all their training, watching them get really good at what they do. That's probably my favorite part.
How many total guys do you have on staff?
Right now we have a full roster of 25 members, including all the officers and myself. When we bring guys on the department, that's one thing we ask them is, will you be able to leave your job and, obviously leave your family, your wife and kids, and of course they always say yes, and that's what we do. I mean, when the call comes in, if we can leave, which most of the time we can, or myself, I can leave. That's just part of it. The guys really do a good job with showing up on to just about every call if they can make it, and if they can't, they can't. But as far as sacrifice, I mean, that's just what we were kind of brought up to do, especially in this community. Just go to the call and help out, whether it's local people or people out on the interstate.
You guys do this all voluntarily. It's not a main job. You're here to help people out, and our community is blessed to have you guys. How do you feel the community has given you guys as much support as you guys have received?
Oh, the support's been overwhelming. Not that I didn't ever expect it. It's just really overwhelming, just from every angle. And it's not just here. It's other communities, outside communities, and as well as other departments. They're doing the same thing that we are. They're out there sacrificing their time and being away from their families just the same.
In your eyes, what would be the worst fire you have ever went through?
Well, that'd have to be the T-Town KC Hall a few years ago. I think, was it 2018 or something like that. Had to call in a lot of extra help for that as well. And that building had been renovated a couple different times, and there was some hidden walls inside there that the fire got in between, and we just kind of had a hard time getting to the root of the deep part of the fire there. It just kept spreading through the walls.
So how many fire trucks do you have?
We got 8 vehicles total.
What are the age ranges in your department?
Ages from anywhere from early 20s to the early 60s.
Ted, you've worked with a lot of different departments, but also the relationships you build with these people, and when you guys talk back and forth, what is that like, and how do you feel like that's kind of affected people's lives, but knowing these people and kind of knowing how they are?
Well, we work really good with our outlying departments. Some of them we run automatic aid with, which means as soon as we get the tone, they get the tone, the page to go out to the call. And some of the other ones are mutual aid, and that's part of our mutual aid box alarm system, or MAVIS division. Just like the recent incident here with the rollover, we used that system. It worked very well. That brought outlying departments in. It's kind of structured so you don't have to do any thinking. You just pull the card and the dispatch reads it off. But as far as working with the guys, you get to know them better. We train together for the most part with a lot of them, and you get to know the guys kind of on one-on-one basis, and that makes it better for each individual scene.
Speaking of the ammonia accident, a situation that we never want to go through again, of course. With me being on scene at midnight until 5 a.m., talking with you, talk me through the actual situation from start to when you got the call to in the middle of the night, next day, and when it finally wrapped up almost 24 hours later.
So we got the call about 8:42 or so that Friday night. and responded and found out pretty quickly that we had an ammonia leak. We first got called out. It was for a 18-year-old male that was having difficulty breathing, but upon arrival there, we found out pretty quick it was definitely an ammonia, so we had to back out, kind of regroup. Got some guys available to get some roads shut off. Montrose came in from the east side and took care of things on that side and assisted with some helicopters and ambulance on that side. And then about, it was probably, a couple hours, 2 to 3 hours later before we got the hazmat teams involved. Once they got here, then they proceeded to put the patch on the tank that was punctured on the front. And then probably Saturday, later that day, around 4 o'clock, there was a company that came in from the Chicago area that offloaded what was left, and we offloaded on another trailer and got it out of there. Then pretty much after that, the scene was safe to enter the area again. And by the time we got everything kind of back in shape again, it was just about almost 9 o'clock that night, I think, when we wrapped up. So just a little over 24 hours.
People are dead in southern Illinois after a tanker truck carrying ammonia overturned on a highway overnight. An evacuation order was ordered for all residents in the area due to the dangerous chemical leak. Photos of the emergency staging ground show officials awaiting clearance to investigate as hazmat crews mop up the spill.
Well, I think we handled it as best we could for what we had there. I think we did learn a few things from it. We would, you learn from all your incidents, but surround yourself with good people. I mean, we called in all those other people. That really made a difference. Our guys, especially, a few of them left and went home for a little bit, but for the majority stuck around the whole 24 hours and never left the, wherever they were staged at, whether they were blocking roads or, at the staging area. So can't thank them enough for what they all did, but and just all the help from the outside communities, that was really the big thing that got us through. Like I say, we train for it, but we never really trained for something of that magnitude. So, as far as the anhydrous side of it, we do training like with the local equity plant and the EFSs and those kind of people. But those are nurse tanks, with the same kind of results, but just a lot less quantity. This thing was a 7,500 gallon tanker that spilled out about 4,000 gallons. So as far as training for that, it's just hard to say you really don't train for that. But we did learn some, and we'll put that learning experience to use if it ever does again. God forbid it does. Hopefully no of the other surrounding communities ever have anything to deal with it. But if they do, we will learn from this, and we'll be training further with this kind of incident.
For people that don't know what anhydrous and how bad it is, what is so deadly about it?
Anhydrous, it seeks moisture, so it's constantly searching for water. So that whether that's your mucous membrane, your eyes, your skin, your respiratory system, that it really affects that. So just a couple breaths of, well, just any breath of a very large amount would get you down pretty seriously. It can affect your eyes, like I said, your mucous membrane, and it can cause serious damage in a short period of time.
Where is the furthest place you have went for a fire or other situation?
Well, as far as fire go, probably just our county. Very rarely do we go outside of the county for fire. But our MAVIS, our mutual aid box alarm system, has called us out to Hurricane Katrina 2005. We sent some people down there, as well as just recently here a few months ago to that salvage yard over in St. Louis. So we sent a couple guys there with a tanker truck.
How much respect do you feel like you got when you got a call to travel 9 hours to New Orleans for something that we hope never happens again like that?
Well, when you get a call like that, first thing we do is I contact the guys and see who is willing to go, and we're pretty fortunate here. I usually get several people that offer to go to things like that, so it makes you feel proud as a chief to know that you got the backing of your guys and that you're pretty good chance you're going to be able to send somebody to a call like that. Well, I learned it takes a lot of time. Probably one of the biggest things is staying up with the times, keeping your head above water because things change so much, keeping the guys trained, and then you got the administrative part of it, the paperwork side of it. I got fortunate to have some good help with some guys that helped me do that too, but the biggest thing probably is just keeping up with the times and keeping the guys trained for what they need to know out there on the scene.
How many calls have you gotten for the interstate accidents?
I don't have the exact number since January 1 of this year, but when the construction started in roughly March until it ended there in September, October, we had 30 calls. Normally we would probably see in a year's time maybe half that.
When you have somebody experienced compared to have somebody who's training more, how do you figure out who goes to that spot?
Well, that's the unfortunate part about having volunteer fire service, fire department, is that you don't really know who you're going to get, who's going to be available. So obviously the young guys that haven't been trained they're not going to go get in the middle of anything out there. It'd be the seasoned guys that do that. So, but as far as an average count, I don't know. On a structure fire, we average 17 or 18 guys per call, but on the interstate like that number's probably a little less than that. I don't really know without checking a computer, but the new guys obviously wouldn't be out there in the middle of that until they were trained a little better.
What type of advice have you been told over the years?
Well, there's several different things. When we get on the scene, sometimes you get other departments with either they send their chief along or their assistant chiefs or whoever. A lot of times we'll get together and think through some things. You get a lot of good advice that way. We have monthly or bi-monthly meetings with our MAVIS division every other month and discuss a lot of things that are going on in the fire service, and there's a lot of good things get thrown around at that meeting as well.
You're very seldom able to actually be around your guys and hang out and have a good time. How often is that?
Well, we usually hang out after every meeting and training session. We get to converse between everybody. And then once a year we have a steak night. That gives us a good chance to get with the retired guys as well. And then every year we have a Christmas party, which allows all the wives and the girlfriends and the retired people to show up again for that. So that's really a good time to meet and speak with everybody again. So the engines, pumpers is what we use, to actually move the water, to spray the water on the fire. And then the tankers are made for, in case don't have a hydrant in place, you can haul the water with a tanker and dump it into a portable tank. Then we have the rescue truck, which houses all the extrication equipment for automobile accidents and whatnot. And then we have the brush truck that's equipped with a skid unit, as well as a ATV with a skid unit on it that holds water as well for fighting brush fires.
This community is blessed, not just the state, the nation. And I know with everything that's going on, you guys deserve so much credit. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Well, thanks. I just ask all the young boys and girls out there to go visit your local fire departments and possibly join and get on those departments. They could sure use your help. and then encourage the community members to just always support your local fire departments.